In this video, and sorry it's been a while, I've been busy at work, wanted to talk about the Gatekeeper armor really quick. I would have done the shadow set update. Mostly, I think the armor is... They missed the boat. They dropped the ball on it. The effects that it has do not work with spells. They redid like Rain Plate. You can be a mage and cast spells and stuff, and the celerity turn and all those things all work. And so I didn't really think that the shadow armor, the shadow set, was that great. Now, the magic weapon, in my opinion, is fucking fantastic. It's one of my favorite weapons. But they released the updated Gatekeeper armor, and so it has really nice art. I really like this face also on a lot of the armors. I think it kind of fits with this. To me, it does anyway. But what I started doing is this strategy that's basically very extremely similar to Void Awakening form, but you can do it in a couple different ways. And because the armor basically has elemental vulnerability mode, it also has a toggle to do panic. It would have been really badass if it did both at the same time. But if you like panic stacking, which panic, as a lot of players know, is one of the best, if not, I think it's like the king of defensive statuses. Just by the way it's designed, you can stack it pretty fast. The monster has to thwart every line item that's listed, which is extremely difficult. It's a separate roll. And then you can eat it for different things like Phase Wanderer or a Royal Void charge weapon, or there's healing spells and different things that can eat it. And if you stack it pretty quick, so much still remains that you still remain defensive. And I like it to be able to use whatever armor I feel like using, and not have to particularly worry about my what armor I'm using based on the elemental attacks of the monster. And so just going to show this off real quick. We'll see how well this does. This is a higher blocking monster. Basically what I was doing with the Void Awakening form is I was taking this weapon here, and then I was casting Chrono Phoenix spell, and then getting celerity with my Pet and Guest, and then casting Ward Flame, and then the full set bonus. With Tropo Shield, you're going to get a higher amount of damage with fire and energy, but you get the 1.67 times damage for your Pet and Guest. And then on heal mode, they're extremely accurate, so they'll probably land. I think these are plus 10 BTH Pet and Guest, so they'll probably end up landing their hits for the most part. But what I would do here is I'd get hopefully Power Gauntlet inflicts, and then so one of the differences here, because this particular armor is going to inflict burn, but then it's also going to do this this heal, just like Rain Plate, based on if you have a burn or in this case, or panic on the monster, which is even better. So you don't have to just rely on burns. So that's why I like it a lot also. And then this right here, I think is a weapon-based attack. I don't even really use it. I try not to use attacks, to be honest with you. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm going to start off with Arcane Rift Key. So I'm going to go ahead and implement this whole thing. So you have some debuffs that you put on yourself. But you do get the 105 mana regen that's there. Now I could use Hexbound Shield and transfer the burn if I wanted to. I could use Wingweaver Shield to just dispel both that and the fragile. But 10 fragile on this right here. I'm going to be healing because I'm going to be inflicting both panic and burn actually. So I actually have both Warlick's Mana Heatwave Kneeboard and Retro Zorback Kneeboard. They do the same thing. One's fire, one's darkness. And then if the monster casts a spell, then it'll attempt to inflict 175% elemental vulnerability of that element. But you can force it to work always on all monsters by using Arcane Rift Key and then following it up with Warlick's Oblivion Sphere, because what's happening is the monster takes its turn. So the monster also gets this regen here of 79 mana each round, and then Warlick's takes away the MP bar every time, so it looks like there's a regen, and then Warlick's takes it away. So I think there's sort of an order of operations that happen. I've tested this with other things that are similar to Warlick's, and it doesn't work. It's the only one that works. This first turn will be pretty weak in general, but basically I have Gatekeeper on elemental vulnerability mode, which I think also the same mode as doing a burn. But Chrono Phoenix, as long as the fire resist is above 50%, so you'll get Pet and Guest Celerity and a second turn for yourself, at which point I'll cast Word Flame. It'll give both panic and burn if they land anyway. So we got a panic and a burn. So we're gonna have our Pet and Guests now attack twice. So as you can see, if you were watching, my MP bar was going down, and then with casting an overcharge spell, then following up with the regular spell, so it's over 1500 MP I just used. And so I was able to inflict an elemental vulnerability of both darkness and fire, but then so also have the Powergon elemental vulnerability, and then also now have the 175% one from this interaction. Now I can come back here, and hopefully that'll work. So now I've altered the darkness and fire up to 250, and it'll change again if it inflicts here pretty quick. But what I'm going to do now is I should have used Optico. So this is what I like to do also, is anytime I'm using Chrono Phoenix, I'll go ahead and I use Optico, and then this monster didn't have enough hit points. So let me just go to the practice trainer here quick. It has enough hit points to demonstrate what I need to do. And remember, the Void Skulls heal is now normalized versus fire resistance. So if you have 1% fire, it'll heal the same as 200% fire. And so that's actually better. Because it's based on damage, and you can increase damage via elemental vulnerabilities or other methods. Certain items will increase pet and guest damage and stuff like that. So again, we'll start here, then we'll go to Arcane Rift Key, do this, and then we'll go to Optico. And then I always cast Optico use Optico first turn, if I remember anyway. So the spell itself doesn't do a lot of damage, as you can see. Plus, I believe there's damage removed. There's a negative damage based on some of these toggles. So you're not going to do a lot of damage. This is not a damage-focused thing. This is a sustain thing. So you can do this over and over and over and over. So as you can see, we have the 333% hypercritical for your pet. Then we have all this other extra turns. So now I'm going to swap to Warlick's Oblivion Sphere, and then go with Word Flame. We'll get both the panic and the burn. So let's see what kind of healing we get out of the Void Skulls. So I'm back up to 2310, and then I healed 310. I don't know if you caught that. So basically, the Fragile no longer... I'm going to out-heal what the Fragile did and what the Power 1.27 Harm Burn did. So having that there doesn't even matter at the end of the day. So now we actually have Warlick's Heatwave kneeboard has now inflicted, and so now we have an additional 175. We got the 167 from the armor, we got the 125 from Power Gauntlet, and of course we're getting Tropo shields. So this is a shitload of elemental vulnerability, and turn 2 you'll really see it. So here we go again with Chrono Phoenix. Should have increased damage because of the Ele Vulns. And then we're going to switch back to Oblivion Sphere. And then I want you to see the kind of healing that I'll get here. So I'm at 810. As you can see, it's just already full. It goes insane. So basically, you're getting, it took me 2 turns to beat the practice trainer, even with 9,000 hit points, casting 2 spells that did almost no damage, because the elemental vulnerabilities that are stacking is causing the Pet and Guest to actually do damage, as well as a stacking burn from Word Flame. So there's where you're getting your damage from, but it's a strategy that causes a sustain. So this is actually better than Void Awakening Skull in the end, because of the Ele Vulns are not only boosting what the pets are doing and the overall damage, but the burn as well. With Void Skull, you're able to heal back pretty similar. I would argue that this strategy here is overall better than Void Skull. But you're able to do both damage and heal back your MP. And then you can use, like if you're low on SP, you can just use Essence Orb, because the regen that you're getting, you're going 2 times, so it's 2 turns worth of regen. I'll do it one more time. So you're gonna do Arcane Rift Key, or maybe I already fucking clicked it. Alright, so we did that already. So I'm going to go ahead and so I have to get this in. Hopefully it works. And then we're going to go ahead and switch to Optico. So again, so the first turn's not that great. And then we're going to go to Oblivion Sphere, giving me some accuracy and some potence. So in this case, we're going to probably be pretty close to full. So 2490, almost full. So 1357 hit points went to 26 for the monster. Now, something to note, let's go ahead and look at the battle log. And I want to look at something here. I also happen to have burn damage from Void. It did 514 burn void damage. That comes from Arcane Rift Key. So let's see. I want to see what happens here. Alright, so the burn damage of 735 took place before the Ele Vuln, and I was curious about that. I was wondering if the Ele Vuln went and then we did burn damage, but if it had, this burn damage would be like 1200 or something. So as you can see, I don't like to keep my battle log up. As you can see, you're getting plenty of damage. I mean, that was just 1 turn. The monster had, what, like 2,900 hit points? So, you know, if you're the type of player that wants to just nuke quickly, obviously this isn't going to be for you. I like doing effects and finding good combinations. To me, that's more fun. I don't mind taking 3 or 4 turns or whatever to get there. But this is, like I said, this is how I like to go about it. Let's finish him off here. And then, of course, you do have the option to, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and use Prime Chaos Orb. So let's just say you want to play a little bit more of a defensive strategy. You will swap over to Panic mode, basically. And then you can use like Frost Warcaster or whatever. And then you can use Summon Creature. Let's see. We'll go with Creature here. You also have the new Gatekeeper guests with that both do Panic. The new Shadow Raven from the Shadow set now does Panic. So you can do all this. If you wanted, you can use a shield. There's shields that now backlash Panic if they land hits. I'm not sure where we at on. Let's see where we're at. So Dex, so I was probably going to use Strength here. And there's even Misks that do Panic. There's Misks that do Panic Potence. So I'm just going to, in this case, just try to inflict as much Panic as possible. So I'm just going to hit Word Flame here, just to kind of give you an idea. So after one turn, we have 24% damage. All right, that one missed. So we still have 11% damage. So as you can see, you can use it. It's basically like Typhon Shard in that sense, because Typhon Shard has it has heals based on burns like this does, but it's I think it's part of the it's not based on burns. It inflicts burn and heals as part of that toggle. That's right. But I think on that one you have to attack, whereas here you can just cast spells. So that's why I basically prefer this guy. And then really once you're kind of you build your Panic, like it's at 2% here. You're just going to continue to heal repeatedly. See, 1980 to, let's see what we get for our hit point heal. I think it's going to take place after the pet goes. Yep, 1980 to 22 something, so about 300-ish, give or take. And it'll just do it every time. It's not actually a regen, but I do believe that it is affected by, and I haven't tested it, but I do believe it is affected by your heal resistance. So it's a versatile armor. I think it's low-key like a Beastmaster armor. Anything that can inflict elemental vulnerability, you're boosting your entire side of the field. So if anybody were to tell you it's not a Beastmaster armor, they're a moron. Even if someone wants to try and make that argument, anything with elemental vulnerability, it works. Alright, let me finish this up real quick. So I've got 24 instances of Panic. It works on all spells. Got lucky there with phase. There's no burn there. Devouring Strength, I'm up to 210. I really like the Sinister Protean Shield. Come on, internet. I think, yeah, it's overheating. Well, I'll just call it a video. Anyway, I think it's maybe one of the best armors they've made. I would recommend spending the tokens on it. There's those that will wait all fucking year to get half price tokens. More power to you. I think just get it personally.